Simplify, everybody. Thank you for all you YouTubers. Thank you for tuning in. I'd like to talk about my solar problem, but I'm not going to give you the company name or anything like that so I don't get sued. So I will start with my story, just briefly talking what happened. Basically, I'm going to come out and say we were lied to, and then given the runaround, and we ended up going to court. And so I'd like to cover that later. But to start with, what does Semper Fi mean? It's Latin. It means forever faithful. All right. It's something veterans treasure. It's a motto from the Marines, and they're words to treasure. Okay, so let me get into when I was in the military back in 1971 in basic training, sitting up in the bleachers with 160 other men from my company, and the drill sergeant out in front telling us, look to your left, look to your right. All right, 30% of you are going to come home in a box. So you have to learn to work with each other because you're going to depend on that person, all right? So that's where truthfulness comes in. So anyways, my wife and I are getting old. We're in our 70s, and we decided, hey, we're getting old. Our house is over 50 years old. Let's sell our stock and let our house outlive us. So that's what we did. We sold. All right, I got to brag here. Facebook. We bought it at $22 a share. So do the math. We did very well, and we replaced the air conditioning. We replaced the swimming pool replastering and all the pump and all that, and we just redid the whole house with everything. And we wanted a new roof, solar, and at this time we didn't know anything about solar batteries because they were new. This is when we signed the contracts was back in October of 2021, and we were unaware of the batteries that they existed. So we saw this commercial one day on television that said they hire the vets, and without question, I said that's the company we got to go to. So anyways, we set up an appointment. They sent the salesperson over. We sat here at this kitchen table, and we did the roof contract. No problem. It's a lot of signings. Sign here, initial this. And then we did the solar panels, and same thing with all the contract. Sign here, initial this. And then we got to the battery. Now, he was telling us that because they were new, that he wanted to sell us their best battery that they offered, which came with a plug that you hook up to a gas generator. All right. So his speech, his little spill was, "This is good in case there is no sun for 2 weeks, and this battery runs out of juice." Okay, so then you start up your gas generator, and the electricity just flows throughout the house without having extension cords throughout the house. And I know about that because we live in an area where there's a lot of wildfires. I'm sure you're familiar with the Paradise Fire was a big one, which is about 2-3 hours away from here. And that's pretty spooky. And we also live in a wooded area where I live. And so I bought a great generator, the best one that was out there, because we were out of power for like 3 days at a time. And I mean, not just once, it was several times, while other houses in the area were out 2 weeks or up to 2 months. So there, that's why we wanted the solar to come in handy. And it was telling us about that came with a $2,000 rebate check. Whoa! All right, you got my attention. We're going to give you a lot of money, and you're going to give us 2,000 back. I like that idea. So, anyways, time goes on. They put the roof on, great work. Then they put the solar panels on, great work. Then they put the generator in. I'm sorry, not the generator. That's separate. That's my part. They put in the battery, the solar battery. Okay, so after it was all connected, one of the members, the crew members, called me and said, "Okay, I want to show you how this thing works." So after he told me about it, I said, "Okay, where is the plug to hook up my gas generator?" He goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, the salesman sold us on that idea, and that's what we wanted." So he says, "Well, this isn't that type of battery, but they do have that type. This isn't that type." So I said, "All right." So that day, I emailed the person I was scheduling everything with and never heard back. So about a month later, I wrote the CEO a letter telling him what happened. And I got a call on my home phone from somebody from the company explaining that she was going to look into it and send me an email with all her information. And so, anyways, I didn't write her name down. I just deleted the whole message because I was going to get her email. Well, that never happened. So I had to write the CEO another letter. And then somebody did get a hold of me and they couldn't help me. So they got me in touch with somebody else and they couldn't help me. They said the contract did not show a $2,000 rebate and the contract did not show any type of battery that I was talking about. So I was still upset. I think I wrote another letter. I wrote a lot of letters. And they put me in touch with another girl who was going to give me, after all this runaround, she was authorized to give me $1,450 as a rebate check. And my wife and I were just like, okay, let's take it because there's just too much runaround. We're not even going to get anywhere. So we told her, okay, we'll accept it. But after 2 weeks, I emailed her back and said, hey, we haven't gotten the check back. Can you please look into it? And her response was, it'll be out in 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks came and went and nothing. So we felt, hey, they reneged. Let's just take them to small claim court because it's almost a year now. So we went and did all our affidavits, had them notarized, looked into going to small claims court. We had no idea what to do to start with. So YouTube was our solution and was a big help. And we ended up getting a gal who was a paralegal, and she got us into court because the paperwork has to be done right. If it's not done right, they kick it out. So we wanted it done right. Her charge was about $500, and then court fees were like $200. So, anyways, that wasn't a big thing. But we went to court the first time, and no one from their company showed up. So the judge said, okay, let me hear your spill. What do you got going? I gave him my whole spill. I told him that I had people that gave me an estimate as to what they would charge to install a plug to make it work off my generator, which was $10,000. So the judge, because they didn't show up and I had a good case, said, okay, I'm going to grant you the $10,000 plus court fees, which was great. I wrote a letter to the CEO and said, hey, we went to court. You guys didn't show up. I'm sorry you have to pay. And so within 3 days from that time, I got a letter from the court saying that the people that we were suing were never advised. I mean, I was advised 3 months in advance. They were advised, but this was part of the runaround game, and I assumed. So the court rescheduled to their favor, and it was like 3 months later. We showed up. We had to get up at 5:30 in the morning to make it there at 8:30 in the morning. And if you're not there, they throw your case out. So we were there, and again, they did not show up. At the last second, they came on Zoom and said they were notified 15 minutes prior, which was probably a big lie, but the judge, now this was the second judge, which was a different judge than the first judge. And this judge was upset because they're saying nobody notified him until 15 minutes ago. Well, he wanted to know who that person was who didn't notify anybody, who was working in their legal office. And she said, well, he doesn't work here anymore. And the judge said, well, next time we go to court, make sure he's present on Zoom, because I want to talk to him about, how to handle these cases. And he felt, they were giving him the runaround, and he was very upset. So I at that time, I asked the girl that worked for the legal system, I said, hey, what you need is to get your salesperson who's sold us on the contract here in court or on Zoom so we can question him. And okay, so nothing was said, but she just like shook her head. And so when we showed up the third time, we had a third judge. And I have to say it, but this judge was a prick. Oh boy, he was totally different from the first two judges that were sympathizing with me. And the first two judges heard my story, but this judge was like, I kind of think he lied to me. And here's why I think that. All right, when you go to court, you make up your report of everything, your letters, your affidavits, whatever you did. Okay, and everybody gets a copy. The plaintiff gets a copy, the judge gets a copy, and so you make these copies for everyone. And that's what I did the first two times. I handed the bailiff, who would take my report over to the judge. And so as we're going along, he was reading along with me. And that happened the first two times. Now, the third time, I asked the bailiff if he would take this report up to the judge. And the judge says, I already have it. And I kind of thought, like, how do you already have it? I haven't given you anything. And the last judge turned it back to me. So anyway, the girl came on Zoom, and I asked, where's the sales rep? Because we asked him to be here. And the judge kind of like in the microphone, like, oh, we're going to cross-examine. Oh, that got me mad right there, but I didn't say anything because he was being sarcastic. And so I said, because he asked me to start because you're number one, you're first. And I started reading it, and he sat there, and he wasn't reading anything. He didn't have a copy of anything. And he said, well, as far as I'm concerned, you signed the contract. That was it. So basically what he was saying is, you lost, and I try to tell him, I said, hey, does integrity play any part in this court? And I don't want to get any, getting mad, but basically I felt, hey, you've got no case, get the hell out of here. So that's what me and my wife did. And so we lost, yes, after 3 times. So what I would like you to know is, if you are offered something good like that, say, hey, stop the press. Pick up your smartphone. Would you say that again, please? You're going to give us $2,000 rebate check? That's great. Because in this fight, they're saying the rebate check was not included in the contract. But in the past, when I have bought things like tools or whatever, and they say you're going to get a rebate check, you get a rebate check, and there was no problem. It was not in the contract. They just told you were going to get it, and you got it, but not this time. And so, anyways, the judge was bad, I thought, but that's our understanding. And I wanted to let you know that if you do get a person that starts talking all this, pull out your iPhone or show them where is it written on the contract. Because when we did our battery contract, it was the same thing. It was like real fast. It's okay, and this is for this. Sign here, and I did, and autograph this and signature here, and they just kept on going with initials and this and that. It's a long contract, but don't get. I mean, like there's a lot of companies out there with different types of problems. Mine is different, and maybe you take advantage of us for a higher commission. I don't know. I can't prove it. But whatever it was, it's over. We're burying it. But I wanted to get that out to the public. Before you go, I want to introduce you to my book. It's called My Texas Rangers Story by Kurt Williamson. And it's really a great book, I think, because I wrote it. And my mom thinks it's great now. She passed away. I had mine. But it's about it's made for everybody. Okay, all ages can read it, I think. Well, from the 6th grade on. But it's about a 13-year-old boy. He finds a Texas Ranger badge. And if you can see the hand with the badge, and then there's a metal detector behind it, I can give you that much away, how he found it. But the badge has powers. And the powers it has, it'll bring his poor family to become the richest family in town. And with the badge, with the help of the badge, he will become a Texas Ranger against all odds. And that some things are true, but it's a fiction book, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's a book for those that travel, especially on airplanes all the time. You got this time to sit there. This is the book for you. It'll keep you interested. Disney people, this is your book. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.